In a city of endless options, most choices are just average. That's especially true for coffee. So let's cut through the clutter. This isn't a list of every cafe in New York. It's a hit list of the exceptional ones. Forget the forgettable. Here are the coffee shops that are truly worth your time, your money, and a spot on your itinerary. Most people think light roast means weak or sour. That's not what's happening here, not even close. The cafe itself is this long, bright space with white walls, hanging plants, and a skylight that turns your morning pour-over into something almost meditative. Reviews constantly mention it feels like a destination, partly because of the tucked-away Bushwick location, and partly because the staff treats each cup with real care. You're not rushing through a transaction. The vibe is calm, not chaotic. Think art gallery energy, but for coffee. What you want to order is a single origin pour-over. Ask the barista what's shining that day because SEY's menu changes with harvest cycles. The roasting style is unapologetically light, focused on pulling out florals, citrus, and delicate sweetness without any roast bitterness, covering up the coffee's natural character. This is filter coffee that teaches your palate. If you're curious about how light roasts work as espresso, you can try that too. Expect something brighter and more fruit-forward than a traditional Italian shot. Wild how different it tastes. Timing matters here. Mornings are gorgeous at SEY, and the shop opens early on weekdays. One thing to know, they limit laptop use on weekdays and don't allow laptops at all on weekends. That might sound strict, but it actually preserves what makes the place special. The room stays social and you actually notice how your coffee tastes as it cools. Novel concept, right? Getting there is straightforward. The address is 18 Grattan Street, Brooklyn. They're open weekdays from 7 to 5, weekends from 8 to 5. Take the L train to Morgan Avenue and you're a short walk from the shop. Why does SEY belong on a coffee crawl? Because it calibrates your palate. Start here and everything else you drink during the day makes more sense. You'll have references for sweetness, texture, and acidity that help you understand the different styles coming up. That's one. Number two takes us to High Collar in the East Village. This is a Western-inspired Japanese kissaten, which basically means a Japanese-style coffee bar. During the day, it's all about the coffee. At night, it flips into a sake bar. What makes High Collar special is that brewing isn't just prep work. It's the entire point. The shop became known for siphon coffee service and this careful, choose-your-bean approach that feels more like a guided tasting than a quick caffeine fix. The room is intimate. Counter seating, warm tones, and glass siphons and pour-over gear lining the bar create this quietly theatrical vibe. You see, hear, and smell every step of the process. That laboratory on a warm day aesthetic is part of what landed with New Yorkers who want their technique front and center. Eater's profile of the place captures why this format works so well. It's coffee as performance art, but actually good. For ordering, siphon coffee is the move. This isn't a gimmick brewing method. The vacuum brew creates a clarity and roundness that works especially well with washed coffees and delicate roasts. If you've never tried siphon before, you'll notice the texture immediately. It's smoother, almost silky compared to pour-over, with this rounded sweetness that comes from the brewing physics. Here's a pro tip. If you're with someone, order the same coffee prepared two ways, siphon and pour-over, so you can taste the difference side by side. Game changer for understanding what brewing method actually does. The food here matters too. High Collar serves omelette and hotcakes, which are classic kissaten pairings. These aren't afterthoughts. In Japanese cafe culture, these warm, slightly sweet, buttery dishes are designed to complement clean coffee. The omelette is essentially a fluffy omelet over ketchup fried rice. Sounds simple, weird even, but it works perfectly with a precise brew. Trust the process. High Collar moved to its current location at 231 East 9th Street back in 2020. The new space gave them more room without losing the intimate identity. Lunch runs from 11:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Saturday, and 11:30 to 3 on Sunday. Evening hours shift to the sake bar program with live jazz on Sunday nights. For a coffee crawl, you want the daylight hours when the brewing rituals take center stage. Why does this belong on your route? Technique. You leave knowing how siphon differs from pour over in body and clarity. It's brew theater that actually teaches you something instead of just looking cool for Instagram. That's two. Number three brings us to Le Fin, also in the East Village. New York is experiencing a Vietnamese coffee moment right now, and Le Fin is leading that wave with serious care. The cafe focuses on fin brewed coffee, which is a slow, gravity drip method that yields a concentrated cup. Think of it as somewhere between espresso strength and French press body, but with its own distinct character. It's fantastic black or with condensed milk, and the menu pairs that base with modern Vietnamese flavors. If you're a Pandan fan, this is your moment. The space is tiny in the best way. Sunlit, plant-filled, with wood shelving and a cushioned window perch that makes you want to stay a while. Every detail feels intentional. The room is small enough that you remember it after a single visit. It hits different than these massive coffee warehouses everyone's obsessed with. Order the Vietnamese coffee with condensed milk first. This is the signature, and when it's balanced properly, it's sweet, chocolatey, and deeply caffeinating without any bitterness. The Fin method is all about patience. A small metal filter sits on top of your cup, and hot water drips through slowly, extracting a syrupy, concentrated brew. The condensed milk cuts the intensity and adds this rich, almost dessert-like quality. Low-key addictive. The pandan latte or pandan matcha are the other drinks people talk about. Pandan has this fragrant, nutty vanilla quality that plays beautifully with coffee's roasted notes. The shop makes its own syrups and keeps the sweetness balanced instead of overwhelming. Not trying to give you a sugar rush. Owner Kim Lay grew up in Vietnam and worked professionally as a coffee quality grader before opening the cafe. That background shows in how dialed in the Fin program tastes. The address is 259 East 10th Street. Hours typically run 8 in the morning to 5:30 in the evening on weekdays, 9 to 5:30 on weekends. Though it's smart to check their social media day for any changes. Space is limited, so aim for mid-afternoon on weekdays if you want the window bench. Why does Le Fin belong on this crawl? Contrast. After C's airy light roast and High Collar's precision brews, a proper Fin shows you how indulgent coffee can be without losing structure. You're getting three completely different perspectives on what coffee can taste like. That's the whole point. Here's how to connect these three into one smooth day. Start in Bushwick at SEY when they open early. The sunlight streaming in, and you're tasting clean filter coffee right at the source. Take your time. This is your calibration cup. From there, walk back to Morgan Avenue and take the L train straight into Manhattan. Get off at First Avenue. That puts you in the East Village in minutes. No transfers, no complications. Smooth sailing. Hit High Collar around late morning or lunch. Order your siphon and maybe a plate if you're hungry. Watch the brew show from the counter if you can grab a seat. Then walk east to Le Fin for an afternoon Fin with condensed milk or a pandan latte. If the window seat's free, take it. From there you can stroll the neighborhood or cut over to Tompkins Square Park to ease down from the caffeine. Let your heart rate return to normal, you know? This route works because there's no backtracking. One subway line connects morning to afternoon. You get diverse cups, light Scandinavian-style flavors, then Japanese Kisat and precision, then Vietnamese Fin richness. The walking is great too. Bushwick's warehouses and street art in the morning, East Village's small street texture later. It's basically a free tour of two completely different New York vibes. Now let's talk about the three you can skip for this particular crawl. These aren't bad shops. They're just not right for a discovery-focused coffee day when you only have a few slots. Big difference. Skip number one is Blank Street Coffee. You'll see these everywhere because they have dozens of locations across New York. The brand's thing is convenience at scale. They use compact micro-format stores and carts with light staffing and lots of app-forward ordering. There's a subscription program called Regulars that turns daily coffee into a fixed weekly cost, with tiers around $11 and $22 per week as of 2025. That model works great for commuters, but it misses the mark for a crawl built around distinctive experiences. Blank Street was founded in Brooklyn in 2020 and has grown fast, spreading to Boston, D.C., and multiple UK cities. In New York alone, you'll pass several locations just walking between subway stops. The whole point of the business model is consistency. Same experience everywhere. That's the opposite of what you want on a hidden gems crawl, where each stop should teach you something new. It's fine for a random Tuesday, not for today. The menu leans into Gen Z-friendly flavors with lots of seasonal specials. The app makes ordering smooth. If you're rushing to the office, on a budget, or already a regulars member, Blank Street makes total sense. But for today's mission, you get way more from SEY's single origin transparency. If you want a multi-roaster experience later, Black Fox Coffee in Manhattan curates beans from top roasters worldwide like Coffee Collective from Copenhagen, George Howell from Boston, and 49th Parallel from Vancouver. That's a better use of your time. Way better. Skip number 2 is the Starbucks Reserve Roastery in Chelsea. The address is 61 9th Avenue, and yes, it's impressive. Full coffee theme park with on-site roasting, multiple bars, a bakery, and workshops. But it's also a magnet for crowds and the opposite of hidden. On peak days, you'll encounter lines just to enter, then more lines to order. The whole point of this crawl is lingering over cups you can't get at 1,000 other addresses. The roastery opened in 2018 near the High Line in Chelsea Market, which explains the constant foot traffic. It's part of a broader reserve strategy that includes other splashy venues like the 3-level reserve store inside the Empire State Building. These spaces are deliberately theatrical. If you want a coffee amusement park, tasting flights, classes, cocktails all in one stop, the roastery delivers that. Just go off-peak on a weekday morning to beat the waits, make it a separate trip. But for a crawl where you're chasing brew method education and intimate spaces, High Collar is the better choice. You get the same theatrical element with siphon service, but the coffee's the star instead of the spectacle. The room holds maybe 20 people instead of hundreds. You can actually talk to the barista and learn something. Revolutionary, right? Skip number 3 is Ralph's Coffee. These are brand-first cafes tucked into Ralph Lauren flagships. There are active locations in Flatiron at 165th Avenue, Upper East Side at 888 Madison Avenue, and Rockefeller Center at 45 Rockefeller Plaza. The rooms are gorgeous, all green and white with gleaming tiles and that signature Ralph's cup aesthetic. Very much designed for the gram. Multiple reviews mention waits of 20 to 30 minutes at the busier locations, plus tight seating since these cafes share space with retail floors. The menus are simple and stylized. If you love the aesthetic and want that Instagram moment, Ralph's delivers. If you're shopping or meeting a friend for a quick latte in a pretty room, it works. But if tasting is your priority, you'll get exponentially more from Leifin's unique brewing method and flavors you won't see at fashion house cafes. Not even close. The 3 must-try shops work together because they give you range. Light, transparent filter at SEY. Ceremony and control at High Collar. Syrupy strength and dessert-friendly structure at Leifin. A good crawl isn't about hitting 6 random spots. It's about contrast you can taste and remember next time you brew at home. Quality over quantity, always. If you want to extend the crawl, Abrazo is an excellent ad. It's at 81 East 7th Street, a tiny espresso bar with house-roasted coffee and this famous olive oil cake. Time Out and Bon Appetit have both celebrated it over the years. It's still going strong and fits perfectly before or after High Collar since it's right in the neighborhood. Literally a 5-minute walk. Space your cups. Drink water between stops. It helps you taste more, not less. The food at High Collar is a strategic bonus. It slows caffeine absorption and keeps your palate fresh. SEY's laptop policy on weekends keeps the room social, which is ideal for actually noticing how coffee evolves as it cools. Leifin is small, so expect a short wait for prime seating. These aren't problems. They're part of what makes each place special. Embrace the vibe. This crawl shows you the city in slices and coffee in slices. Industrial Bushwick. Little Tokyo adjacent East Village. Clarity, ceremony, richness. Say, High Collar, and Leifin stand up to a full day because they're distinctive, rooted in their neighborhoods, an obsession level precise without being pretentious. Nobody's gatekeeping here. They're just really good at what they do. Save the chains and spectacle stops for errand days. On a crawl meant to teach your palate, Choose the small rooms where coffee is the whole experience. That's how you actually learn something instead of just collecting cups.